Well, fantastic to meet you, Professor, and congratulations on being involved in such
Thank
a
you.
wonderful documentary.
Yeah.
So maybe you could start by telling us, how did you come to be involved with this documentary?
The director, Mike Day, came to the Faroe some years ago, and I met him by chance at a neighbor, and we start talking about what we are doing, and I told him that we actually in the Faroes had done research work on the negative impact of the oceanic pollution on children in the Faroes, and he became interested on the spot, and after that he has actually followed our work and my department of occupational medicine and public health for I think it was almost 5 years, documenting what we were doing, our research work on newborn. We have done we call it cohort research. That means that we ask pregnant women to be a part of a research project going into the future. So we are actually taking some blood samples from the umbilical cord and from the hair at the delivery, and then we can see how much the babies have been exposed to in mother's womb, and then we follow them year after year. Now the oldest are almost 30 years, and we have followed them all the years, and we can see that there's a negative impact of metal mercury they were exposed to before they were born. We saw it first time at the age of 7, and last time at the age of 22. Then we concluded that this negative impact on the brain are permanent. They will not disappear. And we have looked at other substances as well. Another big group are the organochlorines, substances like PCB and DDE, which we can find in the big oceans, accumulating in the fat tissues, for example in the whales, which we are consuming in the Faroes, and they are doing harm as well, but not on the brain primarily, but on the immune system. We can see that the immune system of the children are not so efficient as it is in children exposed to less. So we have actually concluded on our research work some years ago that the Faroese should not eat pilot whale meat and blubber anymore. We are not interfering in if we should slaughter whales. We are saying from the healthcare system, do not eat it, because the concentrations of metal mercury and organochlorines are so high that it is not beneficial to your health or to the health of your children. And that communication has been successful regarding the pregnant woman, because when we started in the cohort formation in 86 or 85, the levels were around 22 microgram per liter. Now they are under 5. That means that because they have followed the dietary advices, the concentration in their blood has gone down. It's not because the mercury in the pilot whales is lower now, and then if anything it's higher. So that has been a success story from a public health point of view regarding women, and that is the important population here, because they are the mothers to the children, which are the most sensitive part of our population. Other parts, for example, men, middle-aged men and elderly men, they do not take the message so seriously. No. But I am pleased that the women are doing.
We can see from the film that this is a very sensitive issue. You know, the catching, killing and eating of whales is very much part of a tradition of people living on their islands. People feel that for that tradition to be taken away from them is taking away something from their culture as something separate to health issues. There was even mention, I think, in some places that perhaps your work was part of a conspiracy to undermine this tradition, and outsiders trying to How do you respond to that kind of controversy?
I have responded by making it very clearly, communicating very careful. Our message is only based on health, the health findings, And I have never intervened in the discussion if whales should be killed or not. This is a private thing. I, as a civil servant in the healthcare system, I'm a medical doctor in a hospital department. I have to communicate the health issue. I have to stick to that. And I think people know that very well, that what I'm doing is actually only communicating our findings in the Faroes. It has been important to me, beside that, public health in the Faroes, to communicate our findings in the Faroes to the outer world as well, because this is not a local Faroese problem, it is a global problem. And that is the key message, that we have not been cautious enough when we have done all our industrial activities during the last century or so, or two, because the majority of the metal mercury in, for example, sea mammals up in the north, whales or seals, is actually coming from anthropogenic, as man-made activities, and organochlorines are new substances invented by man, so they were not here before, and so the message is actually, now we have shown you that the pollution you just did without thinking went back to us in a negative way. So that negative effect we want to put words on and send it back to the international community, saying another time we must be more careful. And a good thing is that the Minamata Convention, which has been accepted now and came in force in 2017, is actually an international effort to reduce the emission of mercury from tonnacia from human activities.
And now the documentary is complete, I assume you've had a chance to see the finished thing. What are your reflections on it, and did you learn anything new in this process?
Yes, I learned actually that how people are talking about my findings, because the director Mike Day has managed to be a kind of a fly on the wall in their dining rooms and in their living rooms, and they are talking about if they can believe in our findings in research work, or if their traditions should be are stronger and should continue. So to me it was in a way to come out there and hear what people are talking about, what we are doing. And I must say I was quite pleased, because there was a variety of views, from positive to negative. And that you must expect when you are coming with this bad message to an old culture, saying what you have been doing for centuries is not good enough, because something you not can see is coming from outside and spoiling it. They should really really have a reason to believe you. And I have done my best during this 30 years to convince them that we are serious. And one way to do that is that we have actually followed almost 3,000 children and mothers and invited them for examinations several times. So we are very well known, and they know us and know what we are doing. We are really trying to do proper medical testing and psychological testing and neurophysiological testings and all kinds of tests. So one day it will be a general consensus in the Faroes that we were right, that the contaminants in that particular and traditional food item, pilot whale, should be given up, because we have alternatives with good fish. We are a mass producer of fish, cod, haddock, mackerel, herrings, and so, which are good alternatives regarding the marine fat, for example. So I try to convince people that we have alternatives. They don't have to go from traditional food to junk food or to...
No. Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time.